1 in 59 children in the United States is diagnosed with autism every year. Common therapies include music, art, and swimming. But there's one innovative program in Colfax, North Carolina, using an old means of transportation to help transform the lives of young children with autism, like Cale Bumgarner. He's a little boy, 6 years old, and always on the move.
You need help?
He destroys things pretty quickly.
He's like a wild child.
What? When he gets into Dr. Destructo mode, we don't even say we can't have nice things anymore, we just say we can't have things.
Cale is the youngest of Monica and Sean Bumgarner's 4 kids.
What are you doing?
Monica is a full-time mom, and Sean works as a mechanical engineer. At 2.5 years old, Cale was diagnosed with autism and a sensory processing disorder. Now 6, he struggles to speak.
What did it feel like to kind of realize that his speech stopped?
It was extremely scary. It was devastating, absolutely devastating, because you almost grieve.
We brought those to a doctor and they said, no, there's nothing wrong. As parents, you intuitively know something much faster than anybody who's doing a diagnosis, right?
Despite speech difficulties, Cale had no problem making a lifelong best friend. His name is Getty, and he's a 600-pound horse. Cale looks forward to seeing him every single week at Horsepower, a hippotherapy program in Colfax, North Carolina. Hippotherapy is an umbrella term for using horses as a part of speech, physical, and occupational therapy. For Cale, the movements of the horse help improve his motor skills, and the lessons help develop his speech.
Say walk on. Okay. Good walk on.
It's very obvious. He knows when we're coming here and he's ready. And he loves to put on his little boots. It's like he knows, okay, I'm going to come here and I'm going to get what I need. He loves his horse.
The key to hippotherapy is finding the right horse for the right student. Certified instructor and speech pathologist Perry Flynn started the program 25 years ago.
What are some personality traits in Cale that you maybe think are compatible with Getty?
So Cale is very happy, joyful, joyous, and Getty's a little sort of a grumpy old man. And so I think Cale sort of lightens Getty up.
Both Getty and Cale are very stubborn. So, you'll see Getty eating grass when he's not supposed to. Cale would hop right down there and eat it with him if he could sometimes.
Say thank you. Good. A common misconception is that the horse is doing all the work and you're just sort of sitting there going along for the ride. But I think that if you watch it carefully, you see that there is a lot of physicality that's going on. I think horses are smarter than a lot of people give them credit for. They recognize that those people have disabilities and they sort of need a little help.
After Cale's riding lessons, Flynn's graduate students work with Cale to get him to say 1 or 2 words.
Apple. Apple. Good word. There's your apple.
Is it frustrating sometimes to not really know what's going on?
Oh, I would do anything to be in his head for just a little while. I mean, there are times that he can't communicate what he wants, or, if something hurts, he's stemming more and he's jumpy and he's slapping his legs, and it's like, is there something else going on?
And the Bumgarners are no stranger to challenges.
Where's Evan?
Sean and Monica had a son named Evan who died from a genetic disorder after only 6 days.
Monica, you had a really interesting point, describing your feeling as grief when you actually went through grief. Mm-hmm. How are those two comparable? Are they comparable?
We still grieve Evan. I mean, we grieve the loss of his life. And with Cale, it's very similar, is we grieve the loss of what we thought his life was going to be. With Cale, I mean, he's going to survive, but everything about him changed like that. Every hope we had for him, his future, it wasn't he's going to go to school, go to college, get married, I mean, I still grieve what I thought he was going to have.
You see what he may lose at that point in time as you're going through and processing, not what he's going to gain.
Do you ever feel like you just want to give up?
Giving up is not fair.
It's not so much you want to give up, because I never want to give up on my child. It's exhausting when you think about the future. I mean, and some days you're gung-ho I can face this head on, I can do this, I can advocate for him, and then some days it is literally soul crushing to think of what it is going to entail.
Monica takes Kale to 5 different types of therapies every week. He does traditional speech and physical therapy on top of music, swimming lessons, and horsepower.
So, how do you find time for yourself?
Was that a joke?
Sean reminded me, it's been a year since I've got my hair done. I need to do that. And then, but then I just try, I mean, it's like I can't come up with a time when I can do that.
Kale's therapies are all designed to build off of each other to help him become more independent, but the financial and emotional costs are high, at home and at work.
There is a lot of pressure that I must perform. You know, I can't be just as good as anybody else. I have to be a standard deviation of anybody else who does my job, because I have to be able to put myself in a high-paying position to make sure we have good insurance.
Despite the costs, Kale's parents say the benefits are worth it.
Anytime he can be on a horse, I will put him on a horse.
According to a study in the American Journal of Occupational Therapy, children with autism who participated in hippotherapy for 12 weeks showed improvements in their posture, ability to participate in daily activities, and communication skills. What about a horse is making this all possible?
I wish I could tell you. I wish I knew. It's it's one of those intangible things, I think, that we can't explain, can't quantify. Let's go.
And while the horses make a big difference, so does the instructor.
I love that you're wearing the hat. That is so great.
Are you proud of Kale?
I am proud of Kale. He has worked hard to get to the point where he is, and it's not always easy for him to keep it all together, and he is increasingly able to do that.
His relationship with Perry, have you seen that kind of grown over the years?
Yes, he loves Perry. And I think it goes back to, I'm going to come here, I'm going to get my sensory needs met.
Perry's a part of that?
Oh, Perry's a huge part of that. So, yes, Perry is wonderful with Kale.
Carrots. Yeah, he wants carrots.
So what progress have you seen in him since being here?
A lot. Being on the horse, it regulates him. The motion of the horse settles him, gives him the input that he needs to help him focus. And the effects are long-lasting.
When he's had horsepower, he will go to sleep much faster. He will typically eat better. He will typically focus better if he has homework.
His body is getting what it needs so his mind can focus more to do the tasks that he needs to do.
How long did that process take to where he was pretty nonverbal to slowly starting to speak again?
It's still a process.
Yeah.
He still doesn't, he doesn't want to talk a lot. He would prefer just to, pull me wherever and, try to make me do stuff without talking.
He's 6. He's at a very influential age. So when, you're at that time of life, we want to try to give it much advantage as humanly possible to, to be a contributing member of society.
And as for his future,
He does have life skills. He potty trained. He can go through the line at school and get his lunch and, do all the things for himself. And that's something that we just continue to work on and hope he is independent and on his own. So that's one of our goals.
can I have a kiss? Mwah. So I want you to finish this sentence.
Okay.
Being Kale's mom means...
Oh, it means I'm a mom. He's my kid. He's my child. I mean, he's my kid. Yeah, I'm just his mom, trying to do what's best for him.
I want him to be happy, to feel like his life has meaning and purpose. I want him to struggle and experience life in the best way that he can.
I have no doubt that he will live a productive life because we are going to fight for that every step of the way. But we have to fight for that every step of the way.
You've dealt with a lot, the loss of a child with autism. How do you stay hopeful?
You've got to look all across that, and just like as you guys were setting up, and he's playing with his cars with the camera, and he's trying to figure out what you're doing, and he's having you focus your cameras on his cars. Yeah, that's, to me, that was joy. I mean, you were watching him do something. You were watching him interact with neurotypical people. You were watching him develop right in front of your eyes. If you don't enjoy that along the way, you're going to get to you're heading down a road to nowhere, And so I mean, you have to look at the process that you're going through and understand that that's part of the enjoyment. It's not just one big goal. It's a whole bunch of a million little things.
Every step is a victory.
Exactly.